There's a question that I realize that I've never asked myself that maybe you actually haven't either. And basically, I wanted to ask, what's your thing that you do? And I mean that in the sense of there's something that everyone has that's it feels like a work of passion or some type of thing where like it feels like the opposite of effort, if that makes sense. Instead of feeling like work, it actually energizes you. It usually is something you have to like practice. And for most people, it's something like, I don't know, like a martial art, skateboarding, drawing, painting, dance, basket weaving, furniture making, something, you know. But have you really asked yourself ever, like, why, basically? And I had that realization today with the guitar. That is my thing. It's music. And especially when it comes to the guitar, I realized I never really sat down to ask myself, why do you play the guitar? So it'll be interesting because I'm really like just flying by the seat of my pants. I think I heard that saying once, that almost heard, and that's how it goes. And that I've never thought about that. But really, if I had to think about it, I guess it all began when I was a young kid. My pops, like, I always liked music. I did find myself like, singing songs and stuff on the radio, and it was always really cool, for sure. But I think the first thing that cemented any kind of musician bug in me was I remember being maybe 4 or 5 years old, and my dad had an old Casio keyboard that had like all those like preset sounds and stuff like that. But it also had those like built-in demos, where you can scroll through like a song list and you press start and the keyboard will start playing like a full-on jam all on its own. And I actually would had a real good time just sitting there and just trying to learn like the melodies and stuff like that. And kind of figure out everything from those demos by ear. And so that was always like, I guess, what I enjoyed growing up. For the reason, specifically the synthesizer, I think I remember my parents trying to get me like piano lessons, and I never really showed any interest in any kind of like formal training or whatever. But it was really fun to just mess around. It was really fun to just learn songs. And it was weird because I never thought at that moment, like, this is my thing. This is what I knew I liked doing it, but this is what I'm going to decide is like the thing I'm going to work on for the rest of my life, is this music thing. In fact, if anything, it was the opposite. I think the first inkling or whatever I had of like, I would like to do this as some type of job or career was the idea of being either a comic artist or an animator. And it's funny, even when it comes to everything else, there was always this element of music attached to it, like there was always like take the animation thing. I was like, man, I'm really excited to make like my own animated series and tell stories. I can't wait to make the music that accompanies it. Afterwards, when I got a little bit older, my thing was like video games, and I really wanted to make video games, and I would download like level editors for my favorite games and learn how to mod them, which sometimes was just as easy as replacing like the MP3 files in the data folder. But it's still a good time. And even when I had that realization, like, yeah, I can't wait to be a video game developer, it was still like, and I can't wait to make the soundtrack. And then it continued, and I remember like, early high school, it was like YouTube was a lot of fun. I looked up to like a lot of people on YouTube, and I was like, well, I'm not too interested in making movies, even though I really like them. But if I have a YouTube channel, wouldn't it be cool? I could be the guy that has like his own background music. Like I make my own background music. That one came slightly shoot, by the way. I haven't made it on YouTube or whatever, but I do include a lot of my own stuff in my videos. The point being is that it was always there in the background, and it was always from like the angle of I really enjoyed like composing, and I really enjoyed like just coming up with like I guess for lack of a better word, like soundscapes or like worlds with music. It was always about like this is really interesting to me. Like let me see where this goes and build it and develop it, mess around with effects that were like new to me, figure out how to make it sound interesting to me because I really like music, so I listened to a lot of it. So it was always like trying to, I guess, like I don't know if impress myself is a word because I wasn't really trying to be like I'm so talented. Like let me come up with something super technical and complicated. But it was very much like the same feeling that I would get when I would play a game and I'd be like, damn, this is a great song. Like, this caught me off guard. Or when I would listen to like a CD and hear a song and I was like, damn, this is awesome. Like, this caught me off guard. I think that, I think that's the type of feeling, the type of experience that I wanted from my own music. And so keyboard was my thing for sure. That's that. I was so confident in that, I was like, heck yeah, songwriters and composers and stuff like that, they all start here on the keyboard, whether it's the synthesizer or the piano. Like, this feels right. And it was always in service of, I guess, like less ego was attached to it, if that makes sense. Like, that's why I would have been perfectly happy, I think, being a composer or someone that makes soundtracks or there's something to that effect, like kind of in the background. In the background, really, is where I expect it to stay. Never on like the internet in public on YouTube. Never as like a singer or like fronting a band or anything like that. But the guitar is where I feel like that was the first time that changed, and I think it's the only instrument where it has, I guess, just that changed baked into it. The guitar is something that I picked up because of fucking video games. But the guitar is this is literally timed out to when straight up Guitar Hero came out. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, that was the era of like the Nintendo Wii. You don't have to be into games to know that, that shit was everywhere. That Wii was every living room. Your grandpa played the Wii. That's how accessible it was. And so I lived in a place where we are all, like me and my cousins and stuff, just kind of got crammed into an apartment. And, we all just had like the living room, shared space, had shared toys when we weren't being like selfish with each other, but just that shared space. And the Wii was a big part of that. And I remember really well when my cousin got Guitar Hero along with 2 controllers and how fun that was. And it was also tied into when I was getting into like more rock music around that age. I was getting into like, classic rock. You think like Zeppelin, stuff like that. Metal, everything from like, like, this is not, I'm not good at genres, but everything from like the classics, like, you think Black Sabbath and stuff like that, to like more modern stuff like Killswitch Engage. I don't know why those were the first example I thought of for metal, but hopefully that illustrates my point, just different genres too that aren't as relevant, like rap, really big into like Eminem. And even like my favorite band in that era, funnily enough, I got into them because it had the whole animation aspect attached to it. It was Gorillaz. But even then, it was like I was more interested in the musical aspect of it, in the fact that it was like he was in this animated world, but it was really just one guy kind of directing everything, behind the scenes in a sense. And so, yeah, Guitar Hero was a lot of fun. It was just like a fun party game and stuff like that. But I think because I had like the finger strength from playing the keyboard, I was naturally really good at it. And just from having like a natural sense for music and stuff like that too, I think that's something, like real quick, I'll add this on. That's also, I think, something that is your thing. It's like not only something that feels the opposite of effort, but it's also something that should feel pretty natural, should come pretty naturally to you. And so that was me with music, and it translated into the game. Freaking Guitar Hero, I got really good at it. Like the hardest difficulty, I was pretty much the only one in, like, I guess our household that was able to play it. And it was a lot of fun. And it got me thinking, like, I've always kind of been interested in the sense of like the guitar. My sister had one that she got for like a younger birthday year, and she like showed it to me and stuff like that. I think because like she saw me play the keyboard, so she was, I think, thinking like guitar could be fun. I'm assuming, I know her thing is singing. She's a much better singer than I am, but I think that was the logic. Regardless, she had one, and I would pick it up every now and then, and it'd be like, this is kind of complicated. Where are the notes? Doesn't make a sense to me, like compare this to the freaking keyboard. Everything's straightforward. Everything's there. Whatever. I'll put this back down. But by picking up Guitar Hero, it was kind of fun to like think about like how this all tied in. It was like these artists and stuff like that were like like take for example, my favorite band at the time was like the Strokes, and just like the idea that you could use the guitar to write in a similar way to the piano and make like just very like nice melodic music. And I just like the idea that it was like such a like, Guitar Hero, it's a video game, it's like such a fun vibe, like not that the keyboard can't be, but I felt like too when I saw people playing the guitar, because I did admire the guitar, a lot of my favorite bands had guitars in it. I felt like they were just having a real freaking blast being into it, being on stage into it. And I was like starting to get that separation between like kind of like the behind the scenes composer energy, but also like I think it'd be a lot of fun to really learn this. I want to write like my own music, like not just compose songs. Like I really want to write like stuff that I'm interested in writing in. I feel like it'd be fun. I thought singing was a pipe dream. I thought writing lyrics was a pipe dream too. That wasn't my plan originally, although eventually that happened too. But I thought, hey, maybe I could just be the guitar guy, and that would be really interesting. So sure enough, I started learning on my sister's guitar, and it was for some reason that I can't explain. Like it just really clicked differently. A lot of learning things, a lot of like, I guess creative stuff. There's no real barrier, truth be told. Like there might be a conversation when it comes to like maybe like I don't know, physical disabilities and stuff like that. But other than that, it just comes down to how much time and work you want to put into it. And talent, just your amount of talent at it is just going to signal how much you need compared to someone who's more talented. I really believe that. So for me, the guitar was actually really easy and also stupid difficult at the same time. Really easy to like, I guess, understand the logic, coming from a music background already, but really difficult to do anything remarkable with it. And so for years, like I think this shift, the interest in the guitar came at like maybe age 14, 13 to 14 or so. But for years, I just was like, I'll just be the guy that learns the songs. That's what I'm interested in. It's kind of what Guitar Hero is anyways. It's like cool. And whether it was because I wasn't confident at the instrument or whatever, but that's just what happened until maybe like 17 or so. And then that's for reasons that I can't explain. I was kind of like, you know what? Like, I want to make, like, I want to be that guy. Like, I want to be like, yes, the music comes first. It's still that, what I said, all the things about the keyboard and the synthesizer and stuff like that. I don't want to make boring music. I don't want to make lame, to me, music. I don't want to make stuff that doesn't matter and feels lazy and feels like just generic. Like I really want to actually get good at this, not for money, not for showing off, but just because like I'm a really big fan of this stuff, and I don't want to just be like another like carbon copy or whatever, just someone that learns the songs only. Like, no, like I want my own voice in this. I want to get good. At 17 is when I really started messing around with like, how do chords work? How do progressions work? How do lyrics work? How does recording work? That would be interesting, right? How does that work? And I think that's the day that I felt like that was the day that I felt that shift where I was like, actually, the guitar is my thing. I said day, but I don't know if it was like a single day, like, yes, Operation, Guitar 311 has begun. But just no, I guess that was like around the time where that shift began. And I would say that it was a combo of, oh my God, like you can learn forever at this. Like it's endless. There's always questions to ask. There's always things to figure out. There's always things to mess around with. And at the same time, it was like, oh my God, like you can, not that the keyboard wasn't interesting, but you can really mess around with it. Like keys, the notes are set and stuff like that, so that's cool. But the guitar, there's like hammer-ons, and you can bend the string, and you can really just fuck up your guitar and tune it all sorts of ways. I started tuning the pegs on the guitar out of standard and just messing around and see what would happen. And it was like a perfect union of like my just natural passion, natural interest, and just like the little fucking caveman tinker man inside of my brain. Like it was just like, oh my God, I can keep, like, it never ends. I can keep feeding like my brain and knowledge and experience and mess around, and it's all good. And it just felt like this again, the synthesizer and the keys and all that stuff was a lot of fun, but it was also like, I don't know how to describe it. The guitar was not only more like I just felt easier to me to mess around, like it felt like it didn't have to be so serious. It felt like something that I could share. Like for the keys, like I had to have, a piano with batteries, or like a grand piano nearby or something like that. And for the guitar, it was kind of like, nah, like I got an acoustic, or I even just bring my electric, and you don't have to plug it in anywhere. Just carry it, bring it with you. And there you go. You could bring it with you and write stupid songs about like, watching watching traffic, and like a bird pooped on my shoulder earlier. I'm gonna write a song about it, and it was really easy to mess around with, friends, and it just and really just enjoy yourself, and you're still learning, you're still improving at your instrument. It really broke down that barrier of like, this is why we do the music thing, because it's so fun, because it's so enjoyable, because you don't really think while doing it. Maybe you make decisions and stuff like that, but it just is kind of like, okay, let's see what happens here. And it's the whole unexplainable aspect of it, right? Where it just comes to you. That was the strongest with the guitar. Between that, I think the socialization aspect of it, and the just like not taking it so seriously aspect of it. Not that I was with the keys, but I get what I'm saying, and how accessible it was. Just you pick it up at any time, any string instrument really. But the guitar is just the master of that. I think all of those reasons, and there's no like neat little bow I think I can tie on this. Just all of those little reasons. That is why I play the guitar. And I'll take breaks. Life happens and stuff like that, or I'll even take like breaks in the sense of like, maybe I'll just play like the piano for a while, or maybe I'll just like mess around with effects in my like DAW for a while, or something else creative. Maybe I'll just make videos for a while. But when I find myself coming back to the guitar, every single time, it's always like, this is home base right here. There's something that happens in my brain where it's like, it really just starts to tear down some type of, I don't know, like a barrier or something, but it makes me feel more like myself. That's the best feeling I can describe it as. And when I come back, it's always like perfect, even if I have to practice because I'm a little rough from the lack of practice, being away from it. It's something that I look forward to, and it's still to this day. I started kind of at age 15, 14, started taking it more seriously, maybe like at 20, and now I'm 30, 31. Even after all those years, it's still like, yeah, this is my thing. This is why I play the guitar. But hopefully that got you thinking again more about your thing. Maybe it's not basking weaving, maybe it's pole vaulting or making furniture, or there's always so many things out there that a lot of people don't give credit for being creative. It could even be straight up accounting. Can't sit here and tell me that if that comes to you, if accounting and doing crunchy numbers and stuff like that comes to you, and it feels the opposite of effort and something you're really passionate about, I really envy you, because I'm not that great at finance, or I'm better now, but I don't have like the default talent for it. And I would love to be a computer programmer, which requires a lot of math too. So I do envy you, and it is a creative thing you do. And if that's your thing, it's your thing. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Anyways, off topic. But hopefully that got you thinking about your thing too. I've never really asked myself that question. Why? Why do I play the guitar? And I thought it would be interesting just to get like my thoughts on it. Again, this is, I think, my first video I've made for myself, really, and just to see where that train of logic went. But let me know what your thing is down below, because I like learning about people's things. I think it's really interesting. It's fun to think about multiple hats. And if you watched up to this point, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching all the way through. Don't forget, this is YouTube. You can like and subscribe for more. Get some more good discussions going. I feel them coming. So stay tuned for the next video. Talk to you guys soon.